Here we go. Evening, everyone. It's like we're live. Hello, welcome. Or maybe now it looks like we're live. I don't know if that was a problem or not. Anyway, hopefully we're all good. Fix that a little. Hi, welcome. Welcome back to Dragon Age Origins. Moving on from the long dark of the Deep Roads, finally, I still do want to do a thing or two, if possible, in Orzammar. Might still do that, the Stolen Book quest, and we still have to talk to a couple people, turn in a few quests and things before heading back to the surface. So let's jump into it. Because I do want to go back to Denerim, make sure there's nothing else to pick up or turn in there, aside from the main story quest to do there. Hold off on. Otherwise, though, after that, the plan is to go to the Brecilian Forest to meet with the Dalish Elves. Plenty of lore stuff to look at there. The Elven culture here, it fits that sort of dark fantasy trope of weird outliers and or sort of socially repressed peoples type thing. Hey, Kevin. Good to hear from you. I just sold some things, if I recall. We have to go talk to... That's right, we have to go talk to this dwarf's mother, who we met down in the Deep Roads.
You've returned. With all the excitement over the new king, I never expected you to remember my poor son. Did you learn anything about my ruck?
Yes, but you might not want to hear it.
What is it? Is he dead? Oh, please don't torment me.
I'm afraid Ruck went crazy after too long in the Deep Roads.
Crazy? Oh, ancestors, save him. I've heard of this. Lost soldiers turning on each other, eating darkspawn flesh. Is that what happened to my boy? Why didn't you bring him home?
Ruck didn't want you to see him like that.
Such a good boy. Still thinking of me after all he's been through. I have to go to him. He needs me. Oh, he must be so frightened out there, so lonely. I thank you for what you've done. Even if you couldn't be bothered with more. Take this.
That's
my
not...
husband's masterwork.
Hey.
The first shield he smithed. I was saving it for Ruck, but I want you to have it. As my thanks. I'm going to find Ruck now. I know I can save him.
I first of all doubt it, and then second of all, a shield is not exactly my kind of thing to use. It's a nice shield, but I'm probably not going to use it, but I am going to keep it for sentimental reasons, obviously. Let me see. I'm not going to be able to do that. Meet Orta in the assembly. Okay, gotta do that. Can't do that yet. We're using the Shaper. I thought we did this. Shaper, it's here in this area, right? Oh no, it's in the Noble Quarter, isn't it? Alright, well, let's go back to the Noble Quarter. Kevin says, I fell into a deep and restful sleep last time. Apparently we have a new king. Yes, we have now King Balon. So the choice was a bad one. There was between Haramont, who was apparently the previous king's chosen successor, but not of noble birth, or at least not of royal birth. Who was, I mean, both of them were fairly duplicitous, so that's not a great thing. Or Dace, what's he want?
Another generation of Idukins takes the throne. Thanks to you, we were on the winning side.
That's good. So Haramont was the traditionalist pick, if you will, for the dwarves.
Lord Balon victorious.
More,
Haramont arrested
not
and
the assembly.
ridiculed in the streets.
More isolationist, though, unfortunately. Obsessive about caste roles, restrictive about caste roles. And then also very isolationist, cutting off Orzammar from the surface world, which would have been a huge problem for everyone, both down here and up there. Whereas we have King Balon, now, well, formerly Prince, now King Balon, who was the son of the previous king, but not his appointed successor. So that's an issue of succession. Balon, by contrast, was relatively progressive, but at the same time was open to trade, open to production, progressive with respect to the dwarven caste system, which probably a good thing. But at the same time, he's also brutally violent and has a tendency to turn on people, including Lord Harrowmont. Very ruthless. So it's a choice between bad and slightly different bad. So I figured, first of all, go with the bad that isn't going to be bad for as many people, which would be Balon. It's not a great choice, but it's a choice.
My name's Orta, after the old Orton house.
I know that.
They gave our seat back, and the records show which houses still owe House Orton money.
Ooh.
One day, I will be able to properly thank you for all you've done for me.
You know what? Well, yeah, any money you could spare would help. I'm not a partisan for Lord Balon, for King Balon. He's on the throne and he's agreed to help, and that's nice, but money you can contribute to the cause.
And I don't know what treasure is left, but whatever I get, you can have as much as you want. I'll have to find someone willing to look. Maybe a whole expedition. If the Tig is still there, it must have something. House Orton will not forget this kindness. Didn't that sound official?
Funny you should mention that, Kevin. Kevin says, pragmatism unthinkable. Yeah, it helps that I'm playing a character in the game rather than making my own decisions here. My own decisions with respect to this would be, I don't even know. This is an absurd choice. I am playing Dalen here as very practical and very dedicated to his cause as a Grey Warden. Yeah, I need to do this. Entered into the memories in the Shaper. We talk to the Shaper.
Most impressive, Warden. King Balon's ascent to his father's throne has been recorded in the memories. Is there something more I can help you with?
Yeah. I always am kind of hesitant to talk about things that are things in the practical, right, in the particular realm, because it's not my expertise. It's not even my competence, right? I tend to think about things and explain things in the abstract, which then can be applied properly to the concrete particulars. What this winds up meaning, though, is that whenever I talk about something practical, let alone political, it usually winds up sounding naive, because I consider almost exclusively matters of principle rather than matters of practicality, or matters of specificity and individuation and situational concerns and that sort of thing. I have the luxury of being an armchair academic, as you can see. You can't see the arms, but armchair academic, as you can see, and I have therefore the luxury of being able to defer questions of practical significance, either to a later time or to someone else, to apply the principles that I work through as a philosopher. I'm willing to admit not everyone has that luxury. I'm willing to admit that not everybody, that others need to consider things more concretely. That said, I don't think that means the pure abstractions that I talk about are in any way wrong. They're absolutely correct and can't just be discounted. It's a matter of applying them properly rather than a matter of coming to a different answer. if that makes sense.
Ask, and I shall do my best to answer.
Okay, what about... How about... No, actually, no. I
Your
don't...
presence has been recorded in the memories.
Mind.
I wish you well.
Okay, but can I record the thing I found in the memories? Still need to turn in a quest. I guess not. Oh well. Yeah. All right. Well, let's get out of Orzammar. I'm about done here. As if I didn't at least feel done with this place ages ago. I will say this may be this might be my least favorite part of the game, just because of its tedium, especially of the underground, of the dungeon level in Deep Reds. Or maybe it's just because dwarves are probably the fantasy race in which I am least interested.
I would not have voted for Balon, but I trust my mother's judgment. He may be just what Orzammar needs in these modern times.
I recognize that voice somewhere. Anyway, but yeah, that is a minor concern, but it is something. Maybe that's why. Like I said, maybe it's just because I don't.
Have you? I'm only.
Maybe it's just like I said. Maybe I just don't love dwarves as a fantasy race. They're just less interesting to me. It's all that. It's all that. All that. All that. Redstone. No, I'll keep those. They're magic. Magic, but steel. I can sell both. Card. That might be good. Ooh. 3 enchantment slots. That's crazy. Keep it. Did I just buy all of those? Okay, wait, no. Nope. Nope. I just wasted most of my money buying things instead of selling them. I'm a complete idiot, and here we go. I forgot what direction the interface goes. Ugh. Oh yeah, dog. There.
Have you? I'm only asking.
Let's try this the correct way. Let's sell my stuff. There we go. All right. Let's get out of here. Anyway, oops. So, speaking of pragmatism, though, in our philosophy of religion class, we are going to be talking about Pascal, Blaise Pascal, and his particular brand of pragmatism next week.
We have them in Orzammar.
It is indeed wise in the ways of the golem. It deserves a medal.
Thing is, I don't remember anyone ever mentioning about them having memory problems.
Perhaps they're not the ones with the memory problems.
I talked to a golem once. It didn't have anything interesting to say, but its memory, sharp. It could tell you what you were wearing at the Barnack Festival 10 years ago.
I think they already
Probably
talked about
vomit
this.
and flies and little else, if I were to guess.
Of course, if someone simply claimed to have lost their memory, that would avoid some awkward questions.
Is it still talking? It is not drinking, so it must be.
Fine, fine. You go on and don't answer me. You'll screw up sooner or later.
They do not trust each other at all. Anyway, like I was saying, we are going to be talking about Blaise Pascal next week. Oh, here we go. Sure, take your time.
By the stone. I feel like I'm about to fall off the world with all that sky up there.
Well, take your time. I need you ready to fight.
If I could fight Randar Volney's second after downing 15 lichen ales in half an hour, I'm not gonna be put off by a high sodding ceiling. Well, let's get moving. We're losing, daylight.
It's nighttime, but okay. Wait till he sees daylight. Actual daylight. I can't actually tell if this is overcast or just nighttime. I think it's nighttime, but I'm not sure. Anyway.
So what is a dark spawn?
As I was saying, over and over again, Pascal next week, which should be a lot of fun. It's funny.
All right.
I don't fully or completely agree with Pascal. I mean, he was a bit of a Jansenist, if nothing else. But beyond that, even with the relevant aspects of his thought, relevant to our discussion for class, right? His sort of philosophical pragmatism. I don't fully agree with that. As a way of making decisions, I don't think we ought to make decisions practically rather than rationally. So that is certainly one fault I find with Pascal. That said, I do think that he has a lot of great insights, primarily about our sort of our philosophical psychology, our psychology with respect to how we make decisions. More of that than, like I said, than his specific epistemological claims and things like that. Kevin asks, is there a conceivable exception for applying a claim of damage against a person who refrains from compliance with COOF policies? Let me read that again. Is there a conceivable exception for applying a claim of damages against a person who refrains from compliance with COOF policies? Do you mean legally or ethically? Yeah, do you mean legally or ethically? Because don't come to me with legal advice for legal advice.
Indeed. It's good to have you along on the road.
I'm
sure you'll be pleased with the goods my boy and I have collected, and with your discount.
Concentrators and distillers. Yeah, let's get a few of these. Oh, a bunch of lyrium dust. Does he have it? I didn't see.
I can't interest. I'm sure.
Didn't see if he had lyrium. Darn, he doesn't. I'm gonna have to buy it somewhere else, or find it, but probably buy it. Darn. Okay. You give those to Oregon, though. There. We could use that. Oh, no, that is better. Okay. Um... Okay. About Alistair. You need equipment and stuff. Oh, we can't equip almost any of this. He doesn't have the strength for it. Okay, fine. Okay, shield. No, you should have Eamon's shield, really. I can put those away. I need to level him up. Anyway. Okay, so Kevin, you're asking legally. Yeah, I don't know. He says, I say legally as it pertains to a proper application of law. Okay, yeah, so proper application of law meaning, you know, returning harm for harm type thing, or, you know, holding accountable for stuff. Yeah,
Yes.
Indeed.
Yes.
Bring some people to level up, and let's go to Boulder's Peak to drop stuff off. Maybe buy some things. But yeah, I would say, so let me read it again. Is there a conceivable exception for applying a claim of damages against a person who refrains from compliance with COOF policies? So, do you mean to ask whether one could be held accountable, or whether one could be have an exception from being held accountable for such things? Should Morgan be a blood mage? Be another healer. I don't know. I'll decide that later. Swarm's nice. Cold. No, wait. Whether one could be held accountable. So one could be accountable, or one could be held accountable for refusing to follow policies under a couple of rare conditions. I would think primarily actually. There we go. Poison making. So I would think that one could be held accountable under a couple of very narrow circumstances, or narrow conditions. First and foremost, if one had already contractually agreed, right? and again, keeping all of the various legal requirements for making a licit contract in mind. Things like, you can't be coerced and such. It can't be under duress. Things like that. What that would mean is if you're not under duress, and you are, keep that. If you're not under duress and you do in fact sign a contract saying that you will do such and such for such and such a reason, if those reasons apply, what that would then have to mean is that you would be responsible for fulfilling your end of the contract, right? It would not be enough to just say, that you no longer wish to take part in the contract, or whatever it might be, right? One would have to take one's contractual obligation seriously, and in which case somebody could then be held responsible. I can't wear this, but not worth it. I'll sell those.
What can I do for you, Warden?
There are, of course, the usual issues there as far as contracts go, in terms of whether you made the contract voluntarily in the full sense, right? And there are plenty of instances where you didn't, right? If it was in any way coerced, right, or anything like that. If it was coerced in any way, then clearly, you couldn't be held responsible for upholding your end of the contract. Now, beyond that, right, you could be held responsible for harm done by not following policies. But again, it wouldn't be because it is against a policy. It would be because the harm done is assignable and documentable. So if somebody can document specifically harm done to someone from having caught the virus from you specifically, and again, they would have to prove that they caught the virus from you specifically, or even could be from your place of business or whatever, right? If it could be demonstrated that someone caught the virus from you, and that you could have prevented that from occurring by reasonable means. And by reasonable, actually, no. It would have to be demonstrated that you could have prevented it from happening. I don't think there would have to be a reasonable means requirement on that. It's if you could have prevented it from happening. Then you could then have to pay out damages. Right? For again, specific assignable harm that it can be demonstrated that you caused to another person in particular. If that is the case, if you can in fact demonstrate that that harm, that you have caused harm. If somebody can demonstrate that you have caused harm specifically to another person in a specific way, to a very specific extent, and all of that, then you could be, justly compelled to make recompense for those damages. Let's say, let's put it that way. Let's go with Morgan.
Indeed.
Zevran.
Yes.
Alistair? It brings Sten to the elves, but no. Bring Alistair. Actually, we gotta go to Denerim first, real quick. Did we? Yeah, we can do Denerim real quick. Right. So, under most circumstances, this wouldn't be the case, right? You couldn't demonstrate that someone caught the virus from someone in particular. What's going on? Ambush him. Let's throw ourselves a fireball down there.
Which one first?
Yes. There we go. But anyway, so like I said, I think it would be that
Ridiculously awesome.
right, Zevran. The difficulty would be, like I said, assigning the specific harm done, and I don't just mean you gave someone the virus, because that's not harm done, right? Harm done would be you gave someone the virus and it caused them harm. It actually hurt them, right?
Perhaps I could have a try.
You did.
At that.
Nice. Because there are plenty of people who get the virus and don't seem to otherwise notice.
Perhaps I could have a try. At that.
What? What's going on? Oh.
I still remember my first battle.
Anyway. So it would have to be a specific harm done.
Perhaps I could have a try at that.
And typically it would have to be, not just a specific harm done, but a valuable harm done, a harm that is quantifiable, not a purely qualitative harm. A harm that is at least in some way quantifiable in terms
I
of.
could have a try at that.
Darn. No, you apparently can't. So if all of those things, if all of those conditions are somehow satisfied, that it's assignable harm, that it is quantifiable, that it is identifiable, like, harm to a specific person, by a specific person, all of that, then maybe. Then you could be, I suppose, held accountable. But that's very, very rare. Yeah, I figured. especially the condition of being able to prove that you are the one who gave them
Good to see.
that gave them the virus. That's next to impossible to prove.
Watch out, trap there.
Fine. Jesus, try that one.
As you like.
Alright, fine. Let's just do it the stupid way.
What say you?
What? No, never mind. Yay! Boom.
Let's get on with it then.
Okay. Anyway, that's everybody. Cut them all. Kevin says, right, so the entire basis of the state's mandate is vague conjecture. And is so utterly insufficient. Yeah, that's almost always the case when it comes to legal matters that the state involves itself with. It is always vague. Incredibly vague. In fact, oh man, that's actually, well, let me address your next point, right? It would be easier to do something with something like AIDS, by all means, right? That would be actually relatively easy to demonstrate if the contact was on record, which happens. Or at least you can, give testimony and stuff like that, right? So this actually reminds me the incredible vagueness of the state's laws, to the point of the state's edicts being practically unenforceable. This reminds me a lot of
Those stung with 100 arrows, those suffering from ailments both great and small. His heart was strong, and he moved on. Blessed are the peacekeepers, champions of the just. The deep dark before dawn.
Nothing new?
Dawn's
Nothing new.
first light seems eternal, but know that the sun always rises.
This reminds me, I was going to say, of... Okay, sure. That's fine. That's... Okay. I just did. Anyway. Reminds me a good deal of I think today or yesterday's episode of Out of Frame.
It's not my fault. Why did he come at me? He came at me.
Huh.
Yeah. They got to learn not to mess with me. Us, right? I mean.
Yeah. Anyway.
Magic exists to serve man and
Love that we're dumping these in the chantry well. Anyway.
they shall find no rest in this
So what I was saying. Out of Frame, from the Foundation of Economic Education, I think it was today or yesterday, just had a video out about obscenity laws. And the parallels between obscenity laws and the sort of offensiveness standard that we have today, that is very prominent in what you'd call cancel culture, right? And I'll put a link to it in the description, and I'll throw it in the Discord as well. Because obscenity laws, and also are going back to the 50s and 60s, especially for laws like that. He talks a lot in the video. He talks a lot about pulp novels at the time.
Take this. You've earned it.
Thanks.
The Mages Collective thanks you. Make us smile upon you.
And it's very, very... oh, hi, Duncan. I'm going to pet you. You're a good dog. It's very, very similar to the current trend of sort of offensiveness as it relates to cancel culture. Right? That the standards for what counts as offensive are very vague and constantly changing. And usually changing pretty radically. This is a big problem, because no one can be quite sure what the laws are in the case of the state, or what the social norms are in the case of cancel culture, if you even want to care about said social norms. And that's its own separate issue. Excuse me. Now, once these sorts of things get the force of the state behind them, that becomes a much bigger problem, because then you have, violent enforcement of arbitrary ends like that, which is a much bigger problem.
Good to see you.
What he's got next.
Fighting the good fight, eh?
Have a mark for me?
I'm glad you asked. It'll cost you 3 sovereigns.
Sure.
We're not stealing from a lass this time. We're stealing from Ban Darby. Master Tilver, the Ban silversmith, has been on holiday for the past couple of weeks, but he's in town for the day. All of his valuable, expensive goods are locked up tight, but he has the key. He's got 2 guards with him, not the cheap kind either. If you can get by them, you should be good. Luck to you, Warden.
Okay, maybe let's try that, shall we?
Sorry, the alley's occupied.
I know Tilver from Darby's party, you remember, right?
Of course. Glad to see you again.
I want to shake his hand. So good to see you again, Tilver.
Likewise.
I've seen some of your work. Divine.
You have? Which piece? I've been working on a commission for Ban Franderil.
Kevin says, Doggo reminds me that we're absent Kylie tonight. That is correct. She has tons of work to do apparently this week. It's around midterm time, so you know how it goes. Oh. So she's getting a lot of work done, so if you do wind up watching this back again, hello, we all miss you. But get some stuff done, and don't forget to relax a little bit. Let's... You are a true artist, the craftsmanship.
It is so rare that people take time to really admire my handiworks. Most give them barely a passing glance, as long as it is appropriate for their lofty status. I'd really love to talk further, but I have an appointment. Later, perhaps.
Erica says, this NPC has the babiest pretty boy face. Yeah, he does. He does. I agree. I think we return this back to Slim, right?
You're back, eh? No luck yet, eh? Keep trying.
Oh.
Right you are.
Where am I supposed to... Dinner it. No. No. Crime wave. Here it is. Go to his stall. Oh, his stall. Over there. Let's see. Where, over here? This it? Whoa! Yeah, that was worth it.
Dwarven crafts. Fine dwarven crafts. Direct from Orzammar.
Jesus. Okay, yeah. Alright, Mr. Dwarven Craft, let's sell some stuff.
Welcome, welcome. We sell only the
So,
strongest dwarven steel.
Yeah, so
over 100 times in the forges of Orzammar. In times like this, surely
the vagueness of these kinds of requirements is, I think, a large problem. It's very, very common in law, unfortunately, especially in bad law, quite frankly. I don't actually do any of that. Yeah. Who's got gauntlets? Maybe Everyone could use those. No, not really. As we sell them. Definitely need that. And all right, cool. Nice. I think that's about all we can or need to do here in Denerim. I think. We have a lot of money. Let's check Wonders of Theda's shop while we're here. But yeah, I do think that it's so. Let me also add on issues sort of surrounding, let's say, cancel culture and surrounding issues like that. Nice, but it might actually be really good for Morgan. Eh. Nah, what she has is better. That. Kevin says you can't use hate speech versus you can't hold people hostage. Bad law versus real law. Yeah. And I mean that's not the issue I was really trying to address, but it is a completely solid point. Yeah, I definitely need that. Right. So the difference, right, is just like what we were looking at with respect to, you know, accountability for, you know, COVID policy or whatever. It's about it's about who can be held responsible for what because of what harm has been done and what harm you can demonstrate, show, assign, prove, all of that. Right? So what this means is that if you can't show that harm has been done to any specific person in any specific way, in a specific case, by a specific person, in a specific way, then you can't demonstrate harm done. It's the same as hate speech, right? Hate speech is not criminal by definition because there is no assignable harm done. Right. So again, this all sort of has to sort of fit together in terms of legal theory. Legal theory comes down to a lot of these different things kind of fitting together such that we can understand what constitutes harm, and therefore what can be justly retributed. Let's come back to this stuff. Back to the camp for now. What the heck is this? What is that? That looks glitchy. It's fine. Anyway. But yeah, that was strange. Who was the totem for? It was for Sten, wasn't it?
Unexpected.
It was.
Thank you.
Shale.
Very nice indeed.
I agree. Let's make some Delirium potions. Alright. Oh, that's what that is. Kevin asks, is emotional psychological distress harm? Good question. No. By legal principles, generally the accepted answer is no.
Yes.
But the reasons for that could be varied. Right? There are a bunch of different reasons to say that it's not. The main one being that that one's emotional state is not strictly under the control of the person who is, quote, harming it. Right? I can hear the very same thing and either be offended or not. And that is in large part up to me. Right? That is not the case when I am stolen from, when I'm robbed, or if I am, beaten. If someone breaks my leg is broken, regardless of what I decide to do about it. If someone insults me, I can either be insulted or not, depending on how I react to it. And how I evaluate it. Right? And so, realistically, this comes down to principles that are derived from Stoicism, broadly speaking. The problem, of course, is that a lot of people are not Stoic in the philosophical sense. And this brings problems for legal interpretation and why you can. So you could presumably make an argument, right, that emotional harm is assignable, right, is quantifiable. At least insofar as injuries are quantifiable. But that's incredibly difficult to do because it's purely subjective.
We've been waiting for you, Warden.
Oh. Who has? Who are you people? And why are you attacking me? Dwarf Rebel. What? So I'll go ahead and put my lecture on Stoicism in the comments as well, or in the description after the fact, where I sort of go into the Stoic arguments for this point, right? That our reactions to things, particularly things that occur in our minds, that it is our reactions that determine whether we are harmed by them or not. Right? And in a lot of cases, we're simply not harmed by them if we choose not to be. That's unique to mental things. That's clearly not the case with respect to physical harm done or property damage or property harm. The harm is done. It is objectively measurable and objectively quantifiable, as opposed to harm done to our psyche, let's say. That said, there may be a line crossed when it comes to, systematic psychological abuse, right? Where you are manipulating someone directly and they are sort of under your sway in a meaningful sense. That may be a significant enough difference to demonstrate harm. So let's see this and I'll come back to this.
Stop right there, outsider. The Dalish have camped in this spot. I suggest you go elsewhere, and quickly.
So Kevin says, it seems rational to me that you could conceivably aggravate someone with a disagreeable statement that caused them to distress so regularly that they got into self-harm. Is that different? So harassment. It depends on... It depends on whether you have any kind of real power over them. And by real power, I mean power in the political sense. Something which is expressed as force or a threat of force. Implicit or explicit. If that is the case, then they cannot extricate themselves from the situation. And you are using your power over them to harass them, then that can be a kind of exploitation of power. That can be... you might be able to say that is a kind of harm done by forcing them into a situation that they cannot leave. But in that case, that would be the crime, right? I mean, this is why even cases of long-term abuse, say in a workplace, right, among non-family, because that gets hairy, and I'll maybe address that in a moment. But in non-familial cases, right, of harassment, there's always at least theoretically an option for extrication, pulling yourself away from the situation, or if necessary, disbarring someone from the property in your immediate vicinity, right? So if somebody harasses me, say online, it's perfectly reasonable and perfectly feasible for me to block them. It's totally doable. Similarly, worst comes to worst, I can remove myself from the physical situation. I can hit the off button, right? If somebody is coming to my property to harass me, then that's trespass. That's different. As for familial cases, that gets more complicated because that comes along with a whole different, more complex set of obligations that we either voluntarily or naturally take on. Right? Voluntarily in the case of either found family or adoption or marriage, right? Where we take on certain obligations to one another. In which case, harassment, systematic abuse, is a violation of of those obligations, or if that is by nature. So children, right? Parents have a responsibility, an enforceable responsibility, enforceable at least by the children or by those who have standing to enforce on behalf of the children, which that gets complicated and can be questionable. Usually it would be a next of kin type thing. But parents have a responsibility to their children, a natural responsibility by bringing them into the world, that sort of thing. Kevin says, what about a neighbor that just says horrible things relentlessly? Doesn't seem like there's any direct power there. Well, I mean, there is if it's either if it's on or onto your property. If it's somebody who just, like, whenever you walk outside of your house, just like your next door neighbor just hates you and just starts shouting at you, shouting obscenities at you and your family every time you walk out of your house, right? Then that is a form of trespass. It is a oh god, what's the term? There's a specific term in Rothbard's legal theory about sound when it crosses a property line. It's something to do with externalities. I forget what he calls it, but it's really clever. Because again, it's crossing onto your property. And so that is a kind of trespass. There's something pollution. It's not noise pollution. It's not technically. Because that is a technical thing, but that's different. That's something else. But if that's the case, right, they're harassing you onto your property, then they can't do that. That's trespass. Right? The crime then is trespass, not harassment, not bullying, not being mean. So, speaking of harassing and trespassing, I think we're trespassing on with the Dalish Elves here. Actually, I've been looking for the Dalish.
I find that hard to believe. What business could we Dalish possibly have with a group like yours?
I'm not gonna go that. I'm not gonna get like that. I'm a Grey Warden. I wish to speak to your leader. Let's go with that.
A Grey Warden? How do I know you're telling the truth?
You'll have to take my word on it.
I suppose that a lie wouldn't gain you much benefit. I shall bring you to the Keeper. In the camp, I suggest you keep your hands to yourself, and remember that our arrows are still trained on you. Follow me.
Okay.
I see we have guests.
Oh, this guy here, I borrowed him in part of this quest line for one of my D&D games. We didn't actually get to it. I'm a little disappointed. I really wanted to use this. But he's in the Taroka deck that Erica so skillfully and graciously made that we only, unfortunately, really used once. And can't really do much to use again because it's very specific to our campaign and our campaign setting. But I'll see if I can grab his card, this guy's card. Erica, if you don't mind, let me know if you want me to put it up there and show it to the camera. I think it's really well done. Kevin says that's brilliant. Sound waves are a thing and an extension of the person from which they originate. So trespass would totally make sense. Yeah, Rothbard talks about this somewhere. I forget. I'll see if I can find the term for it and see if I can find an article about it. On sound trespass? I don't know if that's it. She says show the whole thing. Alright, let's see then. Who do we have here that's relevant? Doodly-doo. Oh, here is the card for Erica's character. The Myrmidon. Playing a rogue. Some of these I'm going to have to bring back up when we get to the second game. Because some of these are characters in the second game. Oh, I brought in a character that should be vaguely familiar. Bal from Stargate. Who the actor who plays Bal just died this last week. Last weekend or so. So sort of in memorial, I guess. Hawk from Dragon Age 2. That's one of the ones we'll have to kind of come back for, I suppose. That's party members. Ah, here he is. The hooded one. That's our guy. I'll show this up again once when we're looking at him, seeing how it is modified a little bit. I think he did something different with the tattoos, maybe, or something. He was the robes. I don't know.
And a hound amongst them, as if we haven't had enough problems with
That's
such
the robe.
creatures. Who are these strangers, Mithra? I have precious little patience and less time to spend on outsiders today.
This one claims to be a Grey Warden and wishes to speak with the clan. I thought it best to leave the decision to you.
That was wise of you. Masirinus, Mithra, you may return to your post.
Manuvinen, Keeper.
Now, allow me to introduce myself. I am Zephyrian, the keeper of this clan, its guide and preserver of our ancient lore. And you are?
My name is Dalen. A pleasure to meet you.
Manners. From a Shemlin. Interesting. What might be your mission here? Have you come to spread news of the Blight? I had already sensed the corruption spreading in the south. The existence of the Blight is not news to me. I would have taken the clan north by now, had we the ability to move. Sadly, as you can see, we do not.
Yes, it seems like you've had your own troubles. What are the odds?
I imagine you are here regarding the treaty we signed centuries ago. Unfortunately, we may not be able to live up
His
to the
green
promise we
eyebrows.
made. This will require some explanation. Please, follow me.
We eventually find a lot more about Dalish culture in the second and third games, especially the third.
The clan came to the Brecilian Forest 1 month ago, as is our custom when we enter this part of Ferelden. We are always wary of the dangers in the forest, but we did not expect the werewolves would be lying in wait for us. They ambushed us, and though we drove the beasts back, much damage was done. Many of our warriors lie dying as we speak. Even with all our magic and healing skill, we will eventually be forced to slay our brethren to prevent them from becoming beasts. The Blight's evil must be stopped, but we are in no position to uphold our obligations. I am truly sorry.
Is there no way to help your men?
The affliction is a curse that runs rampant in their blood, bringing great agony and then ultimately either death or a transformation into something monstrous. The only thing that could help them must come from the source of the curse itself, and that would be no trivial task to retrieve.
I'm good at non-trivial tasks.
Within the Brecilian Forest dwells a great wolf. We call him Witherfang. It was within him that the curse originated, and through his blood that it has been spread. If he is killed and his heart brought to me, perhaps I could destroy the curse. But this task has proven too dangerous for us. I sent some hunters into the forest a week ago, but they have not returned. I cannot risk any more of my clan.
You said you could perhaps destroy the curse?
There is no guarantee that this will work, as I suspect. But it's the only hope we have left.
Okay, I guess I'll find this Witherfang for you.
I must warn you that more than werewolves lurk in the Brecilian Forest. It has a history full of carnage and murder, you see. Where there is so much death, the veil separating the spirit realm from our own becomes thin, allowing spirits to possess things, living or dead. But if you can indeed help, then I wish you luck.
I have questions for you.
Make them quick, if you please. I have much to do here. My apprentice Lanaya or Sayrel, the clan's storyteller, could provide you with answers just as easily.
Tell me more about this curse the hunters suffer from.
There is not much to say. It stemmed originally from Witherfang, but now any werewolf may infect someone with it.
So did all werewolves everywhere stem from Witherfang?
No. The ones from this forest, however, do.
So if a werewolf bites me, then I'll become infected?
It is possible, but not guaranteed. The only way to protect against the curse is not to be bitten.
That's good. How do you know if you've been infected by the curse?
You will know within a matter of days. You will begin to sweat and vomit, and most tellingly, your temper will become wild and uncontrollable. If that happens to you, you should seek out Witherfang even more swiftly. Your mission at that point will be rather personal.
Huh. How did the curse start?
That is a long tale I do not have time to tell. Ask Sayrel about it if you wish.
Okay, something else.
Go on then.
Where do I find Witherfang? Any advice?
Watch for the white wolves. They are his eyes and ears in the forest.
Alright, I should go.
I must return to caring for my people. Creator's speed on your way.
Creators. Yeah, like I said, they do a little bit of retconning for Dalish lore in the next game or two. Inks. Cool. Let's not steal stuff yet.
Andera Natishan, stranger. I am Athras. I hope the others have not been too harsh in their treatment of you.
You've been a little suspicious.
It is not our intention to insult a Grey Warden. We are simply wrapped up in the plight of our hunters. It is easy to forget simple niceties at such a time. I understand you will search for the wolves in the Brecilian Forest. I would join you, but Zathrian has forbidden me.
You don't seem very happy about that.
None of us are happy about this situation, and I least of all. But I shouldn't speak too much about this, especially with an outsider. I am sure you have little interest in my problems.
Please, I'd like to hear it.
It's odd to talk so freely with a stranger, but perhaps you can help me. My wife Dalilah and I both fought the werewolves in the ambush. She was injured so gravely, the curse spread rapidly in her. Zathrian fought hard to ease her pain, but there was little he could do. And though he says that Dalilah is dead, he will not let me see her body. I am beginning to believe she became a werewolf, and that it is being kept from me so I do not go chasing after her. If I could just know if Dalilah is alive, or what happened to her, then I could be at peace.
Matthew asks, we simping for the Doge boys this run? Nah, I'm gonna try to do the sort of third way option for this. If you know the quest, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, that shouldn't spoil anything. Hopefully that at least tells you what I'm planning on doing. But yeah, I'm shooting for that third way option for this one. Perhaps I could convince Zathrian to tell the truth.
No. It would be very rude to accuse the Keeper of lying. I know he means well. I just need to know. One way or another. If you were in the forest, perhaps you might come across her. Alive or dead. Any news would be better than none. And in return, I would be happy to gift you an amulet made by our craftsman. It may fetch you some coin in the human lands.
Alright, I'll see what I can do.
Since we seem to be heading into the forest anyhow, that does seem to be the right thing to do.
You are most kind.
I should go.
Please, should you come across my wife, return and tell me.
Speaking of simping for the Doge boys, there's it's a funny story in the Dragon Age fan community about the Doge boys, the werewolves. Specifically about Junei. Specifically, it is about a particular mod.
How do they move these things through the forest? Do the trees just get out of their way, or what?
It's actually a pretty good question. But yeah, so there's a mod for, how do I put this in a YouTube friendly way? Maybe I'll just give up and say full nudity in the romance scenes, so to speak. Unfortunately for everyone involved, the full nudity that it gives is not limited to the romance scenes, and also it the parts which it reveals are in an appropriate state for romance scenes at all times, including if someone transforms back from a werewolf, or if, say, a large number of people were to transform back from being werewolves, not wearing clothing, all standing before you. Anyway, thank God I have never seen this, because no, I have not used that mod, and I don't have any plans to. And I have had nothing like the curiosity to try and look it up. But this is what happens when you try and mod your horny into the game.
What are you doing? You've warped the wood completely. Did you leave it out in the rain?
No, Master Ferrothorn. I think I just used too much heat.
You're not smelting ore like a Durgenlin. This is living wood. It requires patience and delicate hands, not more heat.
My actions bring me sorrow, Master Ferrothorn.
And so they should. Truly, the art will be lost to us forever at this rate. Throw away your dead wood and start anew, and I shall speak to our guest. Now then, please forgive my distraction, stranger. Is there something that you need?
What exactly do you make here?
I'm the clan's craftsmaster. It's my responsibility to learn what I can of the ancient elven arts of shaping wood and ore. In truth, we Dalish know little of the art compared to what we once did. And even what we know has taken us many lifetimes to achieve. There is wood that, if treated properly, is as hard as steel but far lighter. It grows only in this forest, Ironbark. The keeper has forbidden us from entering the forest to collect the wood. This means I cannot make our finest crafts for years to come.
What if I found some ironbark for you?
I would be hesitant to ask it of you, but if you should come across Ironbark, I suppose there would be no harm in gathering some. It is blue and very distinctive. You can only harvest the bark which has fallen off the tree from age. If you find some, bring it to me, and I will craft it for you.
What kind of item would you make?
I excel in making blades from the ironbark, or perhaps a breastplate. Provided there's enough wood, that is.
Very well, I'll take a look when I'm in the forest.
That would please me. So long as our hunters come first.
Of course. I'd like to barter with you.
I am no merchant, but let us trade. Perhaps there's something here which will be of value to you.
Okay. What we got? Ooh. Ooh. Arrows. $50 apiece. Let's not. Yeah, let's not. Pricey. I need lyrium potions. Worth the money. Backpack's worth it. I could afford both of those, but it would use up basically all of my money. Maybe let's not. Matthew says, yo, that's wild about the mod. Gross. Gross, no kidding. It's actually, it gets worse than that. Somehow. So there's a DLC quest where you go back to the battlefield from the beginning, and you this attributes skill. Let's get the skill one and then come back for the attribute one. And if you recall, the king was killed in the battle, right? And was left for the Darkspawn. Of course, the Darkspawn decided to. This is so awkward. Why am I explaining this? I should have waited to explain this for when we get there, but now is enough of the time. But the king is strung up and crucified. After his body is strung up and crucified after the battle. And he's not wearing clothing. You can see what this mod, this horrible, what the hell are you thinking mod, would do to such a morbid situation. Turning it into perhaps the most disturbing situation imaginable. Once again, a reward for doing awful things to a game. For the sake of your horniness. Speaking of horniness, let's talk to this guy.
Hello?
Little simp elf. Why are you cringing? Speak up.
That is, we.
Is everything all right?
I am sorry. I didn't mean to offend you in any way.
You haven't offended me. Please calm down.
Of course. I'm very sorry. It's just that we don't get many visitors. Like you, I mean. Of your kind.
Humans. Kevin said, oh god, do I have to read this? Would it be the sin of necromancy to use natural means to reanimate a corpse? It's a complex question, but the context of what we were just talking about makes this horrendous. So, shoving all of that aside, probably? Well, no. Actually, no, probably not. Probably not, because if you come back through natural means, you're not dead. Naturally dead. So, I mean, we can, thinking to our other game series, we can talk about Shepard. Right? Shepard at the beginning of Mass Effect 2 is dead for 2 years and is brought back to life scientifically through natural means. What that means is she wasn't dead. Right? And, of course, there is the problem of the judgment, right? So, upon the death of the body, the soul leaves and faces God. Comes before God for the judgment. Okay, but what if then afterwards you are resurrected, again, as you say, through natural means? And in a world like this, in a Dragon Age world, that would include magical means. Magic is natural, strictly speaking. It's not... It doesn't go beyond the natural laws of the world, let's say. So whichever means, right? It's not evocative magic, let's say, like it would be if we were calling on the power of demons in the real world, right? So what this means, though, is that you would have... How do I put this? Retrospectively, you would not have actually died. It would have just been a grievous injury. And God would providentially know that. And so you would not go to heaven and face the judgment because you wouldn't have died. Because you're going to come back. Excuse me. It might be something like an extended near-death experience. Maybe. I don't know. It might be nothing. Excuse me. And any of those sort of options, whether near-death experience, being in the presence of God, maybe even in a limited capacity, or nothing, experiencing nothing at all. All of these are, I suppose, plausible. But the key, though, is that if you were to raise the dead through natural means, I don't think it would be necromancy, because they wouldn't be dead. They wouldn't actually have been dead. Retrospectively, looking at it in the long run, they would not have been dead. It's the same as the issue of cryostasis. If you cryonically freeze someone, and they cease all metabolic function for a time period, but then they're revived, they weren't dead that whole time. They were frozen, I guess, but there's got to be a more sophisticated way of saying that. They were suspended, I guess you could say. And the same would apply if you were grievously injured, fatally injured, but then you were brought back to life, so to speak. It's just like resuscitation, right? You can, if someone is resuscitated, if they were, dead, they could still be resuscitated, right? If your heart stops, you cease brain function even, you could potentially be resuscitated under extraordinary circumstances. It's not like you're coming back from the dead, per se. It's just you recovered from a very grievous injury. The same would apply no matter how long it was. If you could be somehow brought back through natural means. Assuming that the soul is still intact, at least. And the soul is still united, at least in a even in a very tenuous sense, united with the body. So, Simp Elf, you've never seen a human before?
Of course. It's just that they don't... I mean, you don't... Oh, I should start over. I am Kamen, a hunter apprentice. Though I wish I could become a real hunter.
Why can't you?
I shouldn't be talking about this to an outsider. You wouldn't understand.
Try me. Might surprise you.
I suppose there's no harm in it. It's not like you can help me. I've been an apprentice for too long. To become a true hunter, I must bring back the pelt of a beast I killed myself. A boar or a wolf or something. I wanted to hunt in the forest, but we're forbidden to enter because of the attack. But the real problem is Gaina.
See what I mean? Girl problems, I see.
She's my heart's desire. I have asked for her hand, but she cruelly refuses it. She will not bond with an apprentice, she says, and calls me a child. I am no child. If I was a hunter, I could prove it, but I cannot hunt, and Gaina will never bond with me. I feel so helpless.
Poor guy.
I shouldn't have brought it up. Just leave me to my misery.
Oh my gosh. I'm being informed, Erica says, that Turbo just stole one of Michael's puffs. Did he eat it? That's weird. If so. Or even if not, even if he was just kind of running around with it. He has other things to bat around like an idiot. Why is he stealing the child's snacks? There must be some way of solving your problem, Simp Elf.
You think I haven't thought about this? There's nothing I can do.
Perhaps I could talk to Gaina for you.
I suppose you could, but what good would that do? The situation hasn't changed.
Have you tried... Oh, this is going to get so bad. Have you tried wooing her?
Wooing?
Oh, no.
I don't understand.
Romance her. Show her you love her.
I've serenaded her, and we've talked many times under the moon. But that doesn't matter if I'm still an apprentice. Not to her.
Have you tried giving her a gift?
A gift? No, that wouldn't be appropriate. Not before we're married.
Okay. But really showing your love. I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but...
I've serenaded her, and we've talked
oh,
many times.
okay, same thing. Alright. Why do you bother?
Because I love her. I really do. I wouldn't expect you to understand.
Oh my god. Erica snatched it from his mouth before he could yak it like an asshole. Good lord, cat. Oh, Jesus. Turbo... Okay, we have two cats, Angel and Turbo. If you've watched the stream long enough, and if you watch my other videos, you've seen both of them. Turbo's the dumb one. He's very large, he's very lanky, he's boy cat, and he is absolutely ridiculous. I just think of something else then. What if I get a pelt for you?
No, I couldn't do that. I must kill the beast myself. It is my rite of passage to become a full hunter.
I'm not telling him to go into the forest by himself. He'll get himself killed. He's a child. Do you want to marry her or what? Make a decision.
You are right. I do want to marry Gaina before she marries someone else. So you would get a pelt for me? Why would you do that?
Just wanted to see if you would agree. Oh, that's rude. See you two together, of course. To be sweet, obviously.
Then I am very grateful. I will pray to Andrul, the goddess of the hunt, for your success.
Oh, gosh. Alright. There's at least one more quest to pick up in here, and it's one I can't do, I don't think.
The Hala.
Who comes? Oh, I beg your pardon, stranger. I was so busy attending to the Hala, I did not hear your approach.
What's a Hala?
They are the noble beasts that pull our Aravel. What humans call land ships. They are our companions and our guides.
Cool, you make them sound like friends.
That is exactly what they are, in fact. We ride the Hala, but never with reins or a saddle. It is the Hala who decide where to lead us, and our privilege that they take our Aravel with them. In return, it's the herder's job to speak to the Hala and care for their needs. It's a bond of friendship, and not servitude.
So why have you separated this one from the others?
I fear she may have been bitten during the werewolf attack. I have tried speaking with her, but she is too agitated for me to understand. The curse would not
Stand.
affect her as it would us, but it would still be lethal. And it may prove contagious to the other Hala as well. I can find no wound on her, but if she's truly ill, then I will have to put her out of her misery, for her sake as well as that of the others.
Is there anything I can do to help?
I don't know. Do you have any skills that might help her? If you do, I would be grateful.
Survival?
And? What do you think?
I can't tell.
I am glad you attempted it regardless.
I should go.
I will watch her for a while longer and see if her condition changes. I am grateful for your assistance, friend.
Anybody have survival? That's tell skills. I don't think anybody does. I never actually allocate points into survival. It has no uses. It's really just nature resistance, and you can find nearby creatures. It's not that useful.
Going. Yes.
All right. So let's talk to the last couple of people in
Going.
Gillenon. Headless Gillenon. Let's talk to these last couple of people we need to talk to in the camp. Or we move along. Random woman. No?
Andaran Atishan, outsider.
You're Gaina, correct? Cameron mentioned you.
You spoke to him? What did he say?
Not gonna be that mean. No. He says that you refused to give him your hand.
Oh. I don't expect an outsider to understand our ways, but I just can't bond with Kamen. He's been a hunter apprentice for over 2 years now, and he's yet to slay a proper beast. Each time he's tried, something has gone wrong. Perhaps the creators do not wish us to bond. I cannot bond with an apprentice hunter, can I?
It's weird referring to them as the creators. This is one of the major retcons, and maybe it's just a cultural thing because of this particular Dalish tribe. But they're not referred to as creators else in any of the other subsequent games or any other context. The Elven Gods, or the Elven, I think. They're just referred to as the gods, or Elven Gods, or Elven. Which, as far as I know, doesn't mean creators. And as far as I know, the myths don't actually talk about them creating much of anything, be it elves or the world or whatever else. So, it's weird. It is a weird. Well, I mean, again, a lot of lore shifts happen between 1 and 2, between Origins and 2. I mean, the same really happens in Mass Effect as well. A lot of lore shifts happen between 1 and 2. But yeah, it's there's a lot of retcons that wind up happening with the Elven Gods. A lot. And by the look of things, they are going to play a major role, in some way at least, in Dragon Age 4. Anyway, if you love him, it doesn't matter what he is, does it?
But what if he never becomes a proper hunter? What will become of our family?
If you love him, then believe in him and help him succeed.
Oh, you are right. I have made poor Kamen miserable. No wonder he cannot complete his hunt. Masiranas, thank you. You have helped me put this into perspective. I will go and speak to Kamen.
Even the pronunciation of the Elven words. Like in the second 2 games, it's Masiranas.
Kamen, I have been a fool.
Weird.
Gaina? What do you mean? Have you changed your mind?
I have. The outsider has helped me to see that I was wrong. I have made you miserable, and I should not have.
But what about my hunt?
I don't care about that. I know you will pass your hunt in time, and we will be happy. Us and our children.
Thank you, Gaina. You've made me a happy man. I feel blessed by the gods today. We are both very grateful for the part you've played in bringing us together.
Didn't even have to lie.
Yes, you are. I am so happy.
Does anyone else feel the urge to vomit? No? 'Tis just me?
Take this. It's been in my
Oh,
family
come
for a
on,
very
Aiden.
long time, but I hope it plays some part in your battle against the Darkspawn.
You're not
It's the very
that
least
cynical.
we could do.
Level up, really? Wow. All right, all right, all right. Let's go with magic. Let's go magic. Magic it all up. Just got crushing prison. That's kind of what I needed. Combat magic. Oh, right, I don't actually have armor. Anyway, that's fine. So where's that storyteller and the couple of people we need to talk to still? Yeah, that was nice and wholesome. I agree, Kevin. It was nice. Helping people to actually communicate. That's here I go. I'm gonna go complain about the young people now. You know what I hate? The young people. No, there's a big deal that whenever I hear about the children and their relationship troubles or even their friendship troubles, I hear so often it very commonly comes down to communication. Roll.
And I'm off.
Salays. It so often comes down to communication and things like refusing to be straightforward and upfront about what you want or want to say, or whatever the case might be. Right? A case that I'll be vague about because I don't want to talk about anyone in particular, right? Where if saying things that can be construed as stringing along or as a not yet kind of thing, or just ghosting, right? Just not responding to somebody rather than communicating directly and saying, hey, here's the deal, not interested, or I am interested, or whatever, on either case, or not explaining your reasons for why you're interested or not interested or whatever, right? It can lead to these sorts of conflicts where one party or the other they have different mismatched perceptions about what each person wants. Ooh, look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Oh, did you see that? It left. I'm sorry. I got distracted, but that was really cool. There was a frog on my window. Anyway, communication's important. Frogs on your window are pretty cool too. Sorry about that. Oh, it jumped away before I could really get a good look, but oh well. It's a cool tree frog. Probably looked like one of those decent-sized green tree frog. There's one on the back fence earlier too. I caught and Saoirse got to play with it and stuff. That was nice. Anyway.
We few wanderers greet you, Shemlin. We understand you are venturing into the haunted forest to save our brethren. I suspect your efforts may be in vain. An entire group of our hunters went into the forest to do as you intend, and they have not returned.
Kevin says, praise God. I assume for the frog. Amen, in that case. Or regardless of for what. Always a good thing. If I'm lucky, maybe I can find them.
An outsider to the rescue, but of course. What were we doing trying to solve our own problems?
I haven't done anything to deserve this, have I?
Perhaps not. You have been remarkably kind to us for an outsider. But an outsider you remain.
Well, yeah.
You are being most unkind, Cyril. Would you refuse our hunter's help simply because of the hand that offered it?
You shame me, Lethalan.
Yes, Frog.
I have allowed my bitterness to cloud my better judgment. Forgive me, Grey Warden. It is most difficult to forget the lessons the Shemlin have taught us.
It is even more difficult when you live amongst them, trust me.
Perhaps I can yet make amends. Stay while I spin a tale for our children. And then I will tell you of the forest if you desire.
Cool. Yeah, that's another cultural difference between the city elves, or essentially like second-class citizens to humans in cities. In a lot of cases, just slaves, particularly up in Tevinter, more so than here in Ferelden. And the Dalish Elves, who are somewhere in between, culturally, I guess, between Native Americans and Romani. They're nomadic. They are looked upon with suspicion, but have these sort of familial connections and these old world ties. And we will also continue to see as the games progress that they have in fact forgotten a lot about what they as a people used to be. But yeah, let's hear a story.
Come and join us then, all of you. Now, what say we tell the story of the fall of the Dales? Which of you children knows that best?
I think I do.
Yes? Then come, child. Oh, don't be frightened of the outsiders. Now, where do you suppose such a tale should begin?
When we were slaves?
Yes. Long ago, our people were slaves to an empire the Shemlin had built on the darkest magic.
Tevinter.
They took away our history and our language and left us nothing.
Kind of.
Then that empire fell. We were freed.
Because Andraste came with her army, and Shartan joined her.
Yes. Andraste, the Shemlin prophet, came out of the south and challenged the Tevinter Imperium. Our ancestor, Shartan, fought at her side. And when the rebellion came to an end, we were given a new homeland in the west, the Dales. We began to rebuild the culture and history we had lost in our years of slavery. We worshipped the creators and made the Dales our home. Perhaps you know what happened next, stranger. Do you know what happened to the Dales?
Do I want to be historical or do I want to be sassy? Any hope they had of restoring elven culture, ancient elven culture, was completely doomed from the start. Now again, if you've played these games, then you know why. If not, we'll see why by the time the third game runs around, by the time we get to Inquisition. Let's be historical. I mean, Dalen's a well-educated mage. You started a war with us and lost.
We started the war, did we? And you, child, what do you believe happened to the Dales?
The Shemlin wouldn't let us be.
Indeed. They resented that we would not worship their maker, and they resented our ways because they were so different from their own. The Shemlin nations grew cold towards the Dales. They called us blasphemers, and tyrants, and declared war upon us. A great crusade.
Say that like there was no reason for it.
Oh, I am certain we played a part in our downfall. We believed that the Shemlin would not revoke their prophet's gift so lightly. We were wrong. They took our lands, forcing us to abandon our gods and live as beggars in Shemlin cities. But there were those of us who refused to abandon our ways. They emblazoned the symbols of the creators upon their flesh and vowed to keep their ancient lore alive.
That's awkward.
That's us. That's the Dalish.
Indeed, child. We chose to wander, homeless, rather than be ruled by the Shemlin. And all our clans wander alone until the day we have a homeland once more.
And we bring the old ways back to our people, because they have forgotten it all.
For we are the Dalish, the keepers of the lost lore.
The walkers of the lonely path.
We are the Elven, and never again shall we submit. And that is the tale of the Dales, stranger. Thank you for allowing us to tell it to you.
Let's turn this back on him. Perhaps you'll allow me to tell a story as well. I don't know what story it is, but let's go for it.
Perhaps another time.
No.
You are the guest here, and one who may yet prove of great help to our ailing hunters. Now, as I said I would, I can tell you what I know of the Brecilian Forest. Do you wish to hear it?
Yes, tell me of the forest.
Our legends say that before the Shemlin came, the Brecilian Forest was a place of our ancestors that predated even our oldest homeland. The people of the Imperium came here and gave the forest its name. If they found traces of our ancestors, we cannot say. If they did, those elves were slain or enslaved. We know only that a great many battles were fought here. These trees grow upon the graves of those who fell, Shemlin and elves both.
What does that have to do with the werewolves?
So much death in one place tore the veil into the beyond. The Shemlin know the beyond as the Fade, the place of dreams and spirits. When the veil is torn, spirits pass into our world freely. The legends say that one great spirit possessed the wolf that became Witherfang, who passed its curse of rage onto men and created werewolves.
That's another thing they dropped, calling the Fade the Beyond. They dropped that in the second game. So Witherfang still exists today.
So Zathrian insists. He says that Witherfang does not age as the werewolves do. Witherfang is as much spirit as it is beast, and thus it is immortal. Perhaps it cannot even be slain.
Spirit or demon.
At the very least, it is old and powerful, much as Zathrian himself.
So that's another metaphysical thing. Spirits and demons are indistinguishable metaphysically in Dragon Age. They're the same thing. It is just that a demon is an equivalent vice to a virtue that is a spirit. I mean, spirits are characteristics or traits. They represent sort of primal psychological or spiritual forces. And demons represent the twisting of those. So, pride can be the twisting of, say, a spirit of knowledge. Because knowledge can become pride. Almost any impulse can become pride. Pride is the chiefest of the demons. They're the big, hulking, powerful ones. Things like that. So yeah, this can be a kind of, or like, say, justice, a spirit of justice, can become one of wrath. Things like that. The Dalish, particularly the Dalish, blur that line, or they see that line as much more blurry than Andrastians. You see spirits as dangerous and demons as evil. The Dalish see spirits as good and demons as dangerous. Right? So it's kind of shifted over, as far as I understand it, at least. Why are there so many spirits in the... Well, you already answered that. Why would I ask that? How many werewolves are there?
No one knows. When the Shemlin lived in these parts, the curse would spread anew to a few of them with each passing year. They would run off into the forest, never to be seen again. Eventually, all the Shemlin left. One assumes the werewolves survive by passing their curse to their offspring. They have had no new blood. Until now, that is.
Have the hunters become werewolves?
It is said that 1 or 2 have turned already, though the Keeper denies it. As for the rest, they will either die or turn, unless they are killed out of mercy. I would rather die than become a ravening, soulless beast. Wouldn't you?
That's all I need to know. And, yeah, probably.
One last warning. The forest is like a thing alive. It changes as it wills, closing paths behind you and opening up new ones. Too many have become lost within, unable to find their way out. Were I you, I would endeavor not to make the forest my enemy.
Okay, whatever that means. Ooh, Arlathan. Okay, let's look at this slightly. Oh wow, there's a lot on Arlathan. Yeah, Arlathan is the ancient kingdom of the ancient and powerful magical elves. But let's not read all of that. It's fascinating lore, I will say. Incidentally, I'm using these little incense cones tonight, so there hasn't been as nearly as much smoke or me crinkling with the bag. Because I have to have my window shut. It's actually rather warm out tonight. It's not supposed to get cold until tomorrow. Disappointingly. So, little cones. They go much quicker. I've already gone through. This is my fourth one I've lit. So I'm probably going to stop early for the incense tonight. Probably after this one.
Under an Atishan Grey Warden. My name is Lanaya. I am Zathrian's first, what you might call an apprentice, perhaps. I've been studying under the Keeper all my life. I am a bit curious of the outside world. Do you mind if I ask you a question or two?
Sure. Oh, she's, I think that's the same voice actress as Ashley from Mass Effect. The one who died, playthrough. Let's give the dad response. You just asked me a question right there.
What an odd thing to say. I mean about the outside world, of course.
Sure, go ahead.
I hear the human cities are very large, thousands upon thousands of souls all packed together in their houses. Is that true?
Yes, some are larger than the eye can see.
How very loud that must be with everyone talking all at once. I try to imagine those of our people living in such a place, surrounded by walls of stone and indifference. It is a difficult thought.
Kevin says, speaking of soulless beasts, I have trouble nailing down the church's position on animals in the afterlife. Particularly, I have friends who think their pets will go to heaven. Short answer is no, right? Because, hold on. There is a video issue I can recommend. I'll put in the description afterwards, and maybe in the maybe I'll throw in the Discord as well, on animal souls and they're going to heaven. If you've seen my video on Aristotle and the soul, this kind of I go into it there, that human rational souls, those which bear the imago Dei, the image and likeness of God, are naturally immortal because we are. Again, Aristotle argues that because we our souls, rational souls, are naturally built to interact with immortal things, ideas that do not change, abstract concepts, that they will survive death, that they must survive death, that the soul must. Whereas animal souls, which only have vegetative and sensitive parts, are completely corporeal. They're physical. They're part of it. They are the form of the body, but that form is completely It completely is about the body, not about the mind, not about abstracts, about universals. And so, animal souls perish along with the body on death. What this means is that when an animal dies, it's dead. That isn't to say, and there is a lot of theological speculation about this, that isn't to say that there will not be animals in the new heaven and the new earth, in the eschaton. Almost certainly there will be. They're spoken of, right, in Revelation. So almost certainly there will be animals in the new heaven, in the new earth, right, in the eschaton. But they will presumably be animals, ordinary animals that are living through past the end times, so to speak. In the new creation, God creates animals. It's also possible, though, again, more theological speculation about this, but it's also possible, though, still, for God to recreate, or perhaps it might be better to say reconstitute, animals that have died, essentially to resurrect them. But it would be really more of an act of recreation, reconstitution, in the afterlife, say. Not in heaven, per se, but in the eschaton, after the resurrection. It would be, again, theologically possible, at least, for God to recreate or reconstitute, say, our pets. Right? And that may, in fact, be part of the joys of the eschaton. Now, we have no reason for thinking that is, in fact, true. We of course have reason for thinking it's possible, but we don't have solid reasons for thinking that must be the case. There's no revelation about it. There's no certainty in that aspect of eschatology or of metaphysics. And it would, strictly speaking, be miraculous. It would not be natural, as our persistence after death is. That said, the death of animals, the permanent death of animals, presumably, as far as we know, gives me a sort of existential dread that I don't even get from humans dying. I, again, due to my, philosophical theology, let's just say, I deal better with the death of human beings who I know live on, and I know are still there in some capacity, that are not annihilated by death. I have a harder time dealing with the death of animals, knowing that that's all there is to them. I can mourn healthily, let's say, the death of people I care about. I mean, it's difficult that they're gone, that they're not here anymore. But it's that they're not here anymore. It's not that they don't exist anymore. And that's a huge difference with the death of animals, especially animals that you care about. They're gone in a much more complete sense. And I have had much more significant and severe emotional responses. In terms of especially in terms of the kind of existential dread encountering the death of animals than I have encountering the death of persons. Because the death of a person is something, in a sense, to be celebrated. We rejoice that they are to meet God, and we pray that they will become worthy of the presence of God, purgatory and such. But an animal is gone, disappeared, it does not exist anymore, and that is something that is deeply existentially disturbing. It should be. And it's something about this that really gets to me is I can't imagine what the experience of death, the experience of someone else's death, I should say, must be like for an atheist who thinks that same fate that I see as animal death, right? That thinks that is the fate of other human beings that they care about, and then ultimately is the fate that they themselves will face someday, and they're confronted with that. And at that point, it's no wonder to me that atheists will flee from the idea, the very concept of death. They will not acknowledge or confront such an idea because it is so impossible to confront under those circumstances, under those conditions. I get it. I do. I get that. I got a little far afield from Kevin's question, but that's something that I don't think I've talked about on stream before. Right? But it's really a significant philosophical issue that gives rise to real significant emotional issues as well, that matters to our lives, to how we deal with the world. Kevin says, could it be that the animal lives on in the mind of God and the soul of their owners posthumously? In memory, perhaps. But not instantiated. Right? So here's... You could look at this in a couple of ways. The memory could live on in a sense, but that memory is an imitation of the real thing. So if we think of sort of Plato's line, right? Sorry, I have to draw it. Right, so if we think of Plato's line, right? Good enough. We have real particular beings here. We have something less real, which is an imitation of it, right? The memory, the idea, right? The image of it. Up here we have the form of something. That's where human souls belong, or forms, abstract forms. And they are instantiated when they become bodies. They become our immaterial forms are up here, very close to the form of the good, or God. Right? Animal souls, if it is just a memory, are barely real at all. Right? As real as the image of something, as real as a picture or an imagining. Right? If it is just a memory. Now, if it is the abstract form, say the platonic form of an animal, right, then it would be non-specified. It would be abstract, not particular. And if it's abstract, not particular, it would not be that animal. It wouldn't be, say, that cat. It would be the form of cat. Right? And in that case, it wouldn't be your cat. It would just be the idea of cats would persist. And that we already know that, but that's not significant in the same sense. So I don't think so. Matthew asks, what about self-awareness? Like in gorillas, dolphins, certain dogs, etc. Self-awareness is... I think in large part the tests we have for self-awareness in animals are tailored for success. They're tailored so that we can say, yes, they have self-awareness. What we should be looking for is rational abstraction, which is required for self-awareness, right? Awareness of the self and awareness of what I am as something. Being able to consider myself as something other than I, right? As something other than, something beyond reflexivity, let's say. But understanding understanding myself as a member of a category, and understanding what it means to be that part of that category, right? And it's that kind of rational abstraction that sets apart human beings. By human beings, I mean rational animals, right? Whether that's like humans, Dalen over here, or elves, right? Whatever, rational animals is what I'm talking about. As far as we know, that doesn't apply to gorillas or dolphins or dogs or octopi or whatever. They're very clever, but animalistically clever. Their sensitive souls are very sophisticated. But the rational soul is a difference in kind, because it is the innate capacity to rationally abstract universals from particulars and then reinstantiate those into new particulars, new, novel, completely new particulars, rather than sort of just rearranging the ideas that are already there and the thoughts that are already there into new, say, imagination or imaginings or that sort of thing. That's, I think, the big difference, and that's why I would think, I tend to hold that humans are, biological humans, Homo sapiens, are, at least in the real world, the only rational animals that we are aware of, that we know of. That there is a strong categorical difference between humans, rational animals, and non-rational creatures, even including those which are very clever and can identify themselves, right, and differentiate, an image of oneself rather than an image of another member of the species, something like that. Which, that's self-recognition. That's purely sensory, right? Recognizing, being able to put things into kinds, and then being able to construct a new instance of a particular kind, of an abstract. Right? The formation of new ideas from existing ideas. That is something that I think goes beyond the capacity of any other animal species. Now, it could be that we wind up being wrong about this. It could be that God gives rational souls to gorillas. But it would be as a species, right? It would be as a kind of being. Not as a kind of, maybe this one has one, this one doesn't. Except maybe by miraculous intervention, which I suppose is possible, but I haven't seen any strong evidence for it. Because even communication by sign language is a kind of stimulus response, rather than a kind of communicating in novel concepts, I'd say. Anyway. So, she's asking about city elves. It isn't an easy way for them, that's true. Is your way any better?
Better for our people, yes. Elves are not the same as your kind. Our souls are more fragile. Is that the right word? It is said that one day we will have a land of our own. We Dalish gather the ancient wisdom in preparation for this. When that day comes, all elves, even those who have forgotten, will reclaim their former glory. I have a question.
Holy crap, that's super relevant to Dragon Age 4.
Do your people regret what they did to ours?
Some do. Not all humans are the same.
I see. That is difficult for our people to accept. Even if only some were in favor of what was done to us, the rest did nothing to stop it. A poet once wrote of them, before the fall of the Dales. Like dragons they fly, glory upon wings. Like dragons, they savage, fearsome, pretty things. But you don't need me to quote poetry to you. Forgive me. Perhaps you have some questions of your own.
Matthew says, like, humans aren't even fully self-aware until they're nearly 2 years old, but they are ensouled. It can't just be to have special awareness or abstract rationalism to grant ensoulment. Sure is. Yeah, sure is. The distinction, though, is, which is why I brought up it would be a species. It would be having to do with the species or the specific difference of the organism. Or the essential form, it would be the other term for it. So this has to do with one's capacities, one's innate capacities, rather than one's first actualities, one's actual powers, right? So the best analogy for this is language, right? So I speak English. This is straightforwardly the case because I am, in fact, currently speaking English. A layer down from that, I speak Spanish to a large extent. Right? I'm capable of forming complete sentences in the Spanish language pretty reliably. Right? I'm not doing so now, but I can do it. Right? I can, meaning I know the language. I have the power to speak Spanish. Right? Puedo hablar español. A layer below this, though, is what has to do with what differentiates the essential form of a creature, which are its first potentialities, you might say. This is Aristotle's term that St. Thomas uses quite a bit. St. Thomas Aquinas uses quite a bit. Which is like my ability to speak, say, German. German is a language that I know a very small handful of words and I'm completely incapable of stringing them together into a grammatically correct sentence. I cannot speak German, but I could speak German. I would need to learn it. Right? I have the potential to speak German. This is very different from, say, my inability to speak cat. Right? I can't speak cat because, one, it's not a language. It's not something that is a spoken language. And then further, it's not something that the form of communication that cats use amongst each other is not even something that I'm physically capable of uttering. Right? Most cat sounds are subsonic. They're below human hearing. I could not speak cat, even if they had a language. Maybe if I set this in a science fiction context, if we're talking about Mass Effect, right? I am incapable of speaking Hanar. Right? Hanar in Mass Effect communicate via bioluminescence, flashing colored lights. Right? I can't speak that as a human. I'm incapable of learning that language because I don't have a visual apparatus for it, and I don't have the communicative apparatus for it. Right? This is very different from my capability to speak German and my power to speak Spanish and my actively speaking English. Right? What something's essential form is tied to its first potentialities. Things like my capacity to learn language, my capacity to learn the languages I'm capable of learning. Right? It is not tied to either my powers, in this case my ability to speak Spanish, or my actualities, my speaking English. So what this means is, if I am capable of reason, if I am the kind of being which is capable of developing rational capacities, what that means is I'm a rational creature. Even if I do not have those rational capacities, and I am not exercising those rational capacities. Right? This is a distinction, realistically, in general, the distinction between potentiality and actuality is a distinction that is missing from most contemporary metaphysics, and it's one that is direly missing and desperately needs to be recovered. See, for example, Edward Fazer's recent book, Aristotle's Revenge. Let me write this down. There. I'll put this in the description as well, and probably in the philosophy section in the Discord as well. But yeah, this is without a doubt one of the key aspects of metaphysics that is missing from contemporary discourse, and it is to my mind, it's probably the second most important after the convertibility of the Transcendentals, which is what my dissertation is on the convertibility of the Transcendentals, which I think is probably the most important aspect of metaphysics that contemporary metaphysical theories are missing. Sorry, Matthew continued. This was a little bit ago, I guess. There's a good book out there on animal pain and suffering. I'll have to find it again. My dog, for example, completely planned to distract me in order to get my food. She invented this idea on her own. kind of. It's... She invented the idea on her own in the sense of what you might call sensitive practical reason. Practical reason based on taking sensations of one thing, observations, let's say, and attempting to replicate what one observes. Right? Your dog sees you do something, she tries to get you to replicate that, and so therefore she can achieve some goal that she sees. That's very different from that's very different from rational abstraction, right? What we are doing now, right? Trying to figure out what it is that qualifies as thought, thinking in categories and what falls into what categories, right? Thinking in terms of categorization and what falls into what categories, what instantiates what forms, let's say, to put it in Platonist terms or Aristotelian terms. That is what is, strictly speaking, rational, right? In the fullest, most robust sense. Anyway, we can continue this as we go, but let's see what she has to say about Zathrian. Keeper.
Nothing that you could not ask Zathrian himself. He is the keeper of this clan and has been for a very long time. He is also a very good man who has lost much. The Dalish are everything to him, and he would do anything to protect them.
Lost much? Like what?
He lost his family a very long time ago. I don't know the story, but I understand the circumstances were horrific.
What does a keeper do exactly?
A keeper is, first and foremost, the leader of the clan. He decides where we go and when we shall move. He's also responsible for knowing the clan's ancient lore and passing it on to the others in the clan. Without a keeper, the clan's knowledge is lost forever, so the clan protects him like no other.
Tell me more about yourself.
I'm hardly anyone special, I assure you. If I seem different from the rest of my clan, it's only because I was born amongst humans. I came to the Dalish at a very young age, but I've always retained my curiosity about the world I came from.
Oh. How did you come to the Dalish if you were so young?
My parents were servants to a human merchant whose caravans plied the southern routes. One day, bandits killed him, and my parents both. I was the only survivor, just a young girl, and the bandits took me. I was their servant for several years.
Oh. That's horrifying. No. I'm sorry, that must have been horrible.
It was. The long years of reflection have allowed me to come to terms with it, to put them in perspective. I can only imagine what would have happened had the clan not saved me from them. I owe them my life for that, and more.
Say the Dalish rescued you from bandits?
The bandits killed a scout when the clan passed near their camp. When the clan discovered him, Zathrian came looking for his killers. He followed their tracks for almost a month, and when he finally caught up to us, he fell on the bandits like a terror. No one could stop him. I sat there and I watched him attack them in a blur, and I reveled in every blow. When he saw me, the fury in his eyes turned to pity. He took me back to the clan, and I've been here ever since.
Huh, didn't you have family you could have returned to?
It's possible I might have had some, maybe many. Zathrian offered to take me back, but I had no idea where I was from, and I wanted to stay with the man who rescued me. The clan is my family. Any others out there? It's best they believe that little girl died with her parents. For now, the clan is all I need. My old world could not have offered me all this, and the knowledge of a keeper as well. Perhaps one day, when I am keeper, I might inquire out of curiosity. I'm not sure what lies down that road except pain, however.
Huh. So, I mean, she's also magic. So that might not have gone over so well in the human world. Maybe it is better to be out here.
I am not a keeper. I am Zathrian's first. Though because I was not born into the clan, becoming his first was very difficult. We Dalish have old traditions. The clans come from the ranks of the nobility that once ruled the Dales, you see. The keepers of those old clans have the strongest and purest blood that reaches back to the days of Arlathan. I had to compete against the other candidates for first, to be better than them in everything, simply because I was not of the old blood.
Must be proud of your accomplishments.
I am. The ceremony where Zathrian anointed me as his first was the proudest day of my life. The clan has placed great trust in me. One day, I will lead them and be the one who secures our future.
I should go.
As you wish. Darth Shirel.
Again, the pronunciation even changes from into the next games. Anyway, I think that's all we have here. We still got about a half an hour, so let's go into the forest, shall we? Ooh, Deathroot. Alright, let's go into the forest. Elganon. Any other elven gods that we need to come and make eye contact with, or no? No? Alright, let's move on. Oh wait, this is the wrong way. This is back out, isn't it? Go the other way. Yeah, this is where we came in. Oh, we already talked to Athras. Okay. Need to find his wife. I'll try to. Alright, let's save real quick. Fenharel. The Dread. He becomes, like I said, like many things that have to do with elven lore, he becomes very, very important later on. Alright, into the forest. Oh, wacky. Alright. Huh. Oh. Okay, that was a lot of wolves and werewolves and etc. This is starting to remind me of one of my D&D games. It was a D&D game in which I used a werewolf hunt to lure my party into the Misty Forest to transport them to Barovia. Naturally, as one does when one is a devious DM. Yeah, that was we're on a I did warn everybody out of character, not everyone's characters, but that we were going on a rather long quest. Hey. And that this quest was a bear. Oh, look, a bear. Crushing prison. How about you go back there? Oh, there we go.
Huh.
Of course. Beat it, but okay. But yeah, we were on a big old quest to go and hunt werewolves. Let's yeah, screw it. Let's go and talk to this guy. Saving game, of course. We're off to hunt werewolves as part of this big citywide festival. A bunch of the adventurers from around everywhere were going to hunt these werewolves. Us among them, and we get whisked away. This dread realm. Barovia. Ravenloft. It's great. White Wolf.
The Watchwolves have spoken truly, my brothers and sisters. The Dalish sent a human of all things to repay us for our attack, to put us in our place. What bitter irony.
You speak? I thought werewolves were savage beasts.
We are beasts, but we are no longer simple and mindless. Let that thought chill your spine.
Hey, this is relevant to what we were just talking about.
I lead my cursed brothers and sisters. Turn back now. Go back to the Dalish and tell them that you have failed. Tell them we will gladly watch them suffer the same curse we have suffered for too long. We will watch them pay.
I prefer to talk to you. I mean you no harm. That is true.
Was it not Zafrian who sent you? He wishes only our destruction, never to talk.
Yeah. But is there no way this can be resolved peacefully?
The time for peace is long past. There will be no peace between the elves and we who are cursed.
Tell me about this curse.
You know nothing, do you? Nothing of us, and even less of those you serve. You are a fool, and we are done talking.
Oh.
Run from the forest while you can. Run to the Dalish and tell them they are doomed.
Don't want to fight. Neither can I retreat.
I do not wish to fight you either, but we cannot trust you. Come, brothers and sisters, let us retreat. The forest has eyes of its own, and it will deal with intruders as it always has.
Okay, so he's gonna let the forest take care of us. Whatever exactly that means, we'll, I'm sure, find out shortly. Oh hey, we were just here. White Wolf. Alright then. Can't go across here, can I? No. Back north it is. Oh crap. I have actually kind of thought about installing auto loots, Matthew, but I run into the problem of I've done it before on a previous playthrough. I've run into the problem of running out of inventory space because I can't as easily just manage what I'm looting and what I'm choosing not to.
As you like.
It has become a problem in the past, that's all. Oof. Hurt a lot. It's more of a to be fair, it is more of a problem early on, early in the game before I have more inventory space unlocked. So it would probably be fine to install now. I might want to. At this point. I don't know. I'll think about it. We'll think about it again. Like I said, I've had it before, but it's been an issue before at times. Uses hostility, healing effects received. Ooh. Oh, digging. Yeah.
Who comes?
You're badly wounded. What happened to you?
We were sent to find Witherfang, bring his heart. Attacked.
Oh. Examine him. His wounds are deep, and some are still bleeding heavily, the result of an attack by creatures with large claws. He does not appear to have any bite marks. That's good. Healing spell. I have those.
You healed me with magic. I suppose you must have. Thank you. I only vaguely remember you finding me. I am very lucky that you did, I think. You are human, obviously. It is strange to receive aid from a human, but I am grateful.
Tell me what happened.
We were in the forest searching for Witherfang. We found traces, but made no sighting of the beast itself. We were not a day into the forest when we were ambushed by a group of werewolves. We did not expect them to be so cunning. I managed to crawl away during battle. I expect the others are dead. At least I was not bitten.
You should head back to your camp.
That would be wise. I must speak with the keeper.
Yeah. Okay. Good. All set there. That's good. Unlike our Templar friend here, who totally didn't make it.
I sense some darkspawn.
What? Where is there darkspawn? Uh-oh. Help. Someone help. Oh, I didn't see that. Nice one, Severin. Nicely done.
And I'm off.
Don't know what Darkspawn are doing here, but okay. Nice.
Too easy. You will learn to fear me.
Ooh, is this where we get Ironbark? Probably. Yeah, it is. Nice. Oh, hello.
Let's finish.
Should have seen that coming. Alright, let's head down here. Where those Darkspawn were coming from.
And I'm off.
Oh, more Sylvans. It's saved. Let's head back for the moment, because this is not where the Darkspawn were coming from. Around this way. Here. Oxbone, huh? That's for Sten, but not sure. It's quick save.
Yes.
Stone. Tombstone gives you an uneasy feeling. Leave it alone for now. It's the site of power. Oh. Well, hello. That's... What? Leave it alone. Okay. I get a creepy site of power vibe. This is very strange. Grand Oak. Or, Ents, basically. For lack of a better term. There, this'll help. Uh-oh, this is very bad. Crap. There's 3 of them. Or sleep. Everyone resisted. Okay, great. Jesus. Okay. How about another lightning bolt? Drain. Breeze. No. Alright, that's great. I'm dead, but... Maybe I run away. Uh-oh. It's very bad. Bye. Crap. No. Alright, running away seems to have been the right solution for now, but there's another one with, I think, full health back here. Unless it died while I walked away.
Any more of them around? No? Oh, good. All right.
There. Ugh, Jesus. Alright, well, that was... It's fine.
Yes.
It's fine. So we gotta...
And I'm off.
Tree, huh? Oh. Yes, please whiz. I love that.
Where's the tavern?
Whizzing gives my dog a bonus. I love it. Talk to this one, I guess.
What manner of beast be thee that comes before this elder tree?
Can't you see? I'm a werewolf.
A were, thou sayest? How can this be? I sense no curse inside of thee. Could it be, instead, a lie? There is no need. Why even try?
Very well, I guess I'm a human.
Ah, yes. I remember thy kind. So brief of life, and all but blind to the peril you cause, the lives you take. Such chaos is sown within thy wake. Allow me a moment to welcome thee. I am called the Grand Oak, sometimes the Elder Tree.
It rhymes? 'Tis a rhyming tree. One can only imagine what manner of spirit is involved here.
And unless thou think'st it far too soon, might I ask of thee a boon?
I love the rhyming. It's so fairy tale. What are you exactly?
I am an elder oak and nothing more. Though once I dreamt of a time before when I roamed the world and howled with pain, not of this world, but twixt and twain.
Spirit.
Perhaps I was a spirit then, a wandering thing drawn to this glen. But then that spirit joined with a tree. Since then, a tree is all I be.
Okay. Seems the other trees were far more hostile.
Of the Sylvans, this is true. They are quite mad, their virtues few. A spirit trapped within a tree, no mouth to scream or eyes to see. A cage of bark, a prison wood, a thing of rage where nature stood. So twisted Sylvan they become. But I am not the same as some. I accept my fated oaken home. I feel no need to rage and roam.
Why do you speak in rhymes?
I do not know. Why dost thou not? Thy words seem plain, a mundane lot. Perhaps a poet's soul's in me. Does that make me a poetry?
I love it. I love this tree. I want to be friends with it. I want to protect it. I want to do anything that it wants. This poetry. I get it.
It was but a simple jest, a jibe to entertain my guest.
I'd like to know more of this forest.
I can only speak to what a tree may see. It may not help you, but it is enough for me.
Why is it called the Brecilian Forest?
That is but a human name. One placed upon this land their claim. A claim they stole from ancient elves, whom they first killed, and were killed themselves.
Were elves here?
It was the elves who planted the seeds, raised the forest, saw to its needs. But that was all so long ago. That they are dead is all I know.
What happened to make the forest like this?
A great war, perhaps. I cannot tell. I was not here when it befell. But many deaths here, all the same. And with the deaths, the spirits came. The spirits entered corpse and tree, and most went mad, as thou canst see. The forest had a spirit of its own, from back when its first seeds were sown. Perhaps she died of grief that day, or perhaps she simply went away. Or perhaps the wares are the ones to blame, For the day she left is the day they came.
I don't understand.
I speak as clearly as I see. Plainer than this, I cannot be.
Okay, then. Anything else around here of note?
Most of what was is overgrown, leaving only broken stone. Perhaps some ruins remain free of rot. I know not where, I see them not.
Where can I find Witherfang?
In the center of the forest the wares do dwell, or so go the tales my fellows tell. But they cannot be followed there. The forest doth protect the wares.
Why do the trees protect them?
Perhaps wares use magic to command the trees. All I know is they move as they please.
Any way into the center of the forest?
Perform the boon as I ask, and I shall reward thee for the task. I have but one desire, to solve a matter very dire. As I slept one early morn, a thief did come and steal an acorn.
An acorn?
All I have is my being, my seed. Without it, I am alone indeed. I cannot go and seek it out, yet I shall die if left without.
I mean, the sole purpose of vegetative life is to propagate. So, yeah, understandable. Where could I find the thief?
It was stolen by a human man. Deep within these woods he ran. Woods that I could travel there. I'd teach the fool to soon beware.
I could look for your acorn. Very well, I can help you.
Go to the east to find this man. I shall await. Do what thou can.
Cool. Alright, let's see if we can... That's west. That's east. We just... How far to the east can we go? Over there. Alright. Well, let's see what's over this way first. While we're over here. Interesting. Campsite appears remarkably intact. The tents and bedrolls are covered with leaves but are dry and whole. Fire pit smokes and possess embers enough to build a small flame. There are no signs of any inhabitants.
How odd. A camp with no campers, complete with fire and warm blankets. Rather inviting, would you not say?
Everything's so clean. We're the ones who set it up. Get no hint of danger, though it strikes you as odd that the camp is abandoned. Perhaps searching the camp will give you more clues as to its nature. Okay. Look inside the tent and are surprised by how dry and cozy it feels. It's clean but empty. What a pleasant place to rest your head.
The Elven hunters didn't set this up. How strange. And yet it all just seems so friendly. I want to do nothing but remain.
Now, let's be paranoid. We can't sleep here. We need to go. Takes all your strength to step back from the tent. A wave of weariness washes through you, despite your efforts to resist it. Okay. As you turn to leave, you find your steps growing laden. Fatigue tugs at your limbs, and you yawn. It's been a long journey. Perhaps it's safe to rest here.
You know, if it's not the same to you, why don't we sit down for a while? strange as it sounds, I'd rather camp here before going back out into the forest.
Huh. Well, let's not fight it. Let's turn around and see what happens. Unable to resist its strange siren call, you trudge back to the tents and quickly collapse and drift off into blissful sleep. Interesting. It's a demon. I wonder if this will work. It does! Hooray! Ooh. Huh. Okay, with the shade destroyed, the fog seems to lift. The camp that was here is ancient. The remains of the shade's victims all lie as if sleeping still.
A hungry spirit luring those who pass to their rest and their doom. One might wonder how it learned this trick. No matter, it shall prey on no one else.
Glad we resolved that. Dalish armor. Or Dalish armor. Chest. Dalish gloves. Let's give that to Zephyr.
Gloves? You're giving me gloves? What for?
And we're in a tree. Thought you might like them.
I did not mean to sound ungrateful. It is just... Wait, these are Dalish, are they not? My mother was Dalish, and had a pair very similar to these.
Nice.
The leather was less thick, and it had more embroidery, but these are very close, and quite handsome.
You're welcome.
Do I seem surprised? Perhaps I am. Still, I appreciate the fact that you even thought of me. No one has simply given me a gift before. Thank you.
Aw. I mean, he was a former slave and assassin, so... Nice. Let's see if he can equip them. He already has. Yeah. They're not great. They'll do their job. All right. Oh, wait. One more loot from the shade. Ooh, good. Injury kit. All right. So, that is all the time we have tonight. It is edging on midnight. Actually, it is midnight, not edging on. It is well and truly midnight. So let's turn that off. Let's wrap it up here for the evening. Let's quickly save here. And let's call it a night there. So thank you all again for joining me. We will be back as usual on Monday again, Monday night, for more Mass Effect 3. It looks like this week we are doing the party. For everybody to come and join in at Shepard's new apartment, the Citadel, hang out with some old friends, and do some crazy self-referential meme stuff. Should be a great time. Should be a lot of fun. We might actually get some questing done as well, some like missions and stuff. Probably not. We'll probably just be the party, which would be great. And then we'll be back right here next Thursday for more Dragon Age Origins. We're going to pick up right here where we leave off. I'm going to keep on moving forward. keep on moving through the Brecilian Forest, try and figure out what we can figure out about these werewolves. Also, keep an eye out. I don't know exactly what is coming when, but I do have plans for a couple of videos coming up soonish, within the next few weeks. So do keep an eye out on your YouTube subscriptions. Keep an eye out on the Facebook page. Keep an eye out on the Discord, as usual. All of that fun stuff. So, like I said, that's all I have for tonight. Thank you all once again for joining me, and I will see you all next time. Bye.